And a very good morning and good day to everybody, and welcome everybody to this show, to this live broadcast from Far North Queensland in Australia. And yes, I welcome all our physical and non-physical friends who are participating in this webinar this morning, today. And here at the round table of friendship, of equality, round table where everybody can come and enjoy and bring their own unique presence, unique energy, and unique issues that we each face every day. My name is Alex Sersha, and I am presenting Blueprints of the New, which is a monthly free webinar for everybody, and where we sort of talk about all the current energies and everything else that comes up. All our non-physical friends, Michael and Yeshua, are very present. If you would like to take a deep breath and feel their presence, and feel all of the other non-physical friends that are with us today. Our wild nature that is with us today, our free nature that is with us today. So haven't the energies just been so intense and so full on, and some of them have been so harsh on the system, so harsh on the body. So everything that you're feeling, I'm feeling also. So it is in those moments where everything just seems so hard and it feels so uncomfortable to feel, and you think, oh my gosh, is there more to integrate? Is there more to feel? Is there more? Is this ever going to end? It is in those moments that actually makes a huge difference when you choose, when you decide that, yes, I choose freedom. Yes, I choose my divinity. Yes, I choose my heart. Actually, not just heart and mind both working together. So yes, the energies have been intense. So I would like to invite if anybody is feeling is feeling the resonance, to make full use of the private sessions that are available on my website. Please check out my website, alexissersha.com. There are packages available as well. You can have like a double, you can have a single private session, or you can have a double, or you can actually go on a journey. We can go on a 3-month journey, or even more, where you have perhaps a private session every couple of weeks. We work out what works for you and works for me, and then we go much deeper into all of this. We go much deeper, and it's very uniquely personalized. And what happens is that we do it just like this, with a video and audio, where you are also on a video and audio. You can choose, and then you also get a recording that I will send you out. That is yours to keep. Now, Michael has asked me a couple of months ago to launch myself into a more long-term courses. So the first one that is coming up is called Essence. So initially I had no idea what I'm getting myself into, and I didn't know even the outline of the course, which actually slowly sort of happens over the weeks. And it's only been in this last week that I've really that has downloaded, the information has downloaded. So it is going to be run by Michael and also by Yeshua, and it is going to be all about feeling and bringing in your own individual, your own unique Christ consciousness. So the details are on my website, and it is called the Essence 3-month journey. And again, we will have live webinars every couple of weeks, 2 per month for 3 months. And I'm really, really looking forward to, because a lot happens in those courses. So much energy gets transmitted. And there are some people that say, okay, so we have to now all, forego channeling, forego working with our non-physical friends. And there are so many different aspects, there are so many layers of this. And yes, I am a human, Alexis Sersha. And when I do allow Michael in, my divinity, to speak, to come forward just like I am right now, and we are Michael, and we are Michaela, and we speak with you in this way, and we welcome you. And we demonstrate just how easy it is to come forward like this, to do this dance where we are physical and you, the human, are also very much present. And here I am again, Alexis, Alex. You see, so it's not a takeover. It is just like a continual dance where part of yourself comes forward, different parts of yourself easily come forward and step back, just as it's needed, just as it is relevant in your daily life. And it is very natural. It is not a big deal. And so my point was that unless I, Alex, have done all the work, have done all the integration, have done all of the steps, have made all of the choices that were necessary, this wasn't possible. So the human self is actually uplifted, very much so in this work. The human self is very much honored, because without the human self, none of this would be possible. So the human self's role is not stepping back in some kind of oblivion. It is actually very honored. It is essential, the human self, the expanded human self, and the work and the allowing that the human self does. So all of the work that I, Alex, have allowed is making this possible. And then the next step for me was where I was asked by my non-physical friends, including Yeshua, including Saint Germain and others, that I speak on their behalf, that I blend with them. And the reason being is because many people are still not in this place where they can hear, where they can clearly hear and receive this information. So this kind of work, channeling, that many call it, will still continue, but it is expanding. It is going into a lot of different, how shall I say, spaces and places. So for example, when we, Michael, step forward like this, we are not channeling ourselves because we are Alex. We are Michael, we are Michaela. We are the eternal self, we are the soul, and we are the human being. All equal, all natural, all present. No takeovers here, but a beautiful dance, dance of love, dance of respect. And yet to get here, to get to this place where we can do this, it does take a while, doesn't it? Because you are staying here, you are choosing to stay here. You are choosing to stay in the body. And sometimes we know that you are impatient and you would like it all to happen in a day, and it doesn't. Because you would be gone. You would not be able to stay here. I, eternal self, I would not be able to walk this beautiful earth. I would not be able to smell the flowers. I would not be able to watch the sunsets and the sunrises. I would not be able to do any of these things. So you, the human self, are essential to this journey. And here I am. I step forward again. My name is Alex. And now I'm talking to you, me, the human self. And it is so easy to do this. Once you are in this place, it is so easy. And when I go around my daily life, I don't even think about this anymore. I don't think, okay, am I Michael? Am I my eternal self? Am I my soul who is speaking now? If I'm aware, if I'm to stop and observe, of course I can notice who it is. But it doesn't really matter, because all of it is me, all of it equal, all of it valued, all of it honored. But it wasn't always like this. And I wasn't always able to then blend with our non-physical friends and speak on their behalf, like Yeshua, like Saint Germain. Because just like many of you, I felt so many resistances. I felt that I wasn't deserving. I felt that I wasn't able. Who, me? I'm just a normal person. I'm just nobody. How can I do these amazing things? How can I speak on behalf of Yeshua? And yes, here I am. For those that can see the colors, you can notice my color, my joy, my lightness of being. I am Yeshua. And you see how easy it is, this blending. And you see how easy it is transforming and stepping into one dimension, the other dimension. But to get here, it's not so easy. To get here, Alex has had to integrate, has had to allow her magnificent self, has had to acknowledge, has had to allow all of those parts that have not felt magnificent, that have not felt loved. She has had to allow those to be touched by love, to be touched by divinity. So yes, you have heard this Christ itself, Christ self, and yes, I, Yeshua, from the family of Sananda, I was a representative of this Christ self. But it is not to me that you need to look it up to anymore, because I came to invoke, I came to demonstrate to you, to everyone, human being, what is possible. That being your own Christ self is possible when you walk on this earth. And it is within you that you are asked to bring forward this Christ self, your own unique Christ self, your own divinity. To bring it forward, to make it a reality, to allow it to be a reality in this physical place. And because there are so many of you now that are on this brink, and each and every one of you is at your own stage, just to the perfect place where you are, because every one of you, each and every one person is working at their own pace, is allowing at their own pace, is working with their own raw materials of your own life. It is not like you have to go and search for someone else's life that will allow this Christ itself to become to the forefront. It is you. It is your own circumstances. It is exactly where you find yourself. So take a deep breath. Feel my lightness of being. With all the earthly experiences that I had, all of the suffering, 2,000 years ago, in your time, it was only but a breath away in my time, because I now exist in timelessness. And I have let go of all of the suffering, because that is the prerequisite. There is no suffering in divinity. There is no suffering in Christ itself, Christos, Christ self. Because allowing your Christ self to the forefront, allowing your Christ self to permeate you, the human, means that as it's happening, as it's progressing, this allowance, each and every part that this Christ self touches is healed. It becomes integrated, becomes loved, becomes bathed in light, becomes joyful. Feel me, feel my energy, how light-hearted it is, how joyful it is. And so you can be. And yet the path to here can be anything but joyful, because you know the human history. You know of all of the experiences of the 3D. They were not pretty. They are not easy. And they're not easy sometimes on your body to feel. They are not easy on you to feel. And very often you get stuck because some of those patterns that are wanting to release, some of those energies that are wanting to release, are so close to you, have been such a big part of your life, even in this lifetime, that you easily identify. So when they come and visit you, perhaps for the last time, perhaps to release once and for all, sometimes you get stuck in there because you think, oh no, not again. I thought I've cleared that up already. Why are you coming back to visit me? I thought you were gone. Am I not good enough? Is my work not good enough? Is my allowing not good enough? And dear ones, it is this that is stopping you It is not that you don't feel perhaps always as joyful as you would like to feel, or positive, or lighthearted. It is okay to feel heavy at heart at times, because you are choosing to do this, to bring this Christ self forward in the harshest of possible energies, when the humanity is clearing up, when everything is coming up onto the surface. And yet you have the courage, you the magnificent one, have the courage, have the audacity even to say, I am allowing this Christ itself, this gentle, this fine part of myself that I have hidden, so deeply inside of me, because I thought, because I was afraid that the harshness of this reality is going to tar it, that it's going to make it dirty. And yet your Christ itself is always pure. It cannot be made dirty. And yet it is very fine, and yet it is very gentle. And it can exist. It is now safe. It is now safe to bring it forward. It is now safe to allow yourself. But as it is coming to the foreground, it will have to travel through all of your walls, through all of the energies, through all of the barriers, through all of the resistances that you have put up. And the problem's not so much the resistances, because you can melt them, you can feel through them, you can allow them to melt. It is if you are beating yourself up, that does more damage, dear ones. So every time when you find yourself doubting, every time when you find yourself wanting to put yourself down, to beat yourself down, remember that is a complete waste of time. Not only that it is a waste of time, but it is impeding your progress. Progress perhaps is not the right word, but I'm going to use it because I can. So yes, I, Yeshua, am joyful now. Feel me. My joy, my lightheartedness. Because this is what I choose now to represent to you. Because I see that for so many, you sometimes feel heavy of heart because you see all the suffering. And you have such beautiful open heart, such compassionate heart. And you can perhaps still feel guilty that others are suffering while you are accepting your joy, you are accepting your freedom, you are feeling your I am presence. So let us take a deep breath now and feel that I am presence, that balmy, balmy I am presence. Your I am, your freedom. And it does take courage, does it not, to feel this? But now it is the time, because we have you noticed, stepped into a different time. So even through this medium, even in this way, as I am channeling, I am no longer speaking from your wounded parts. I am firmly sitting in the new earth. I am firmly sitting in a new energy. And I am beckoning you. I am calling you. I'm whispering to you, I, Yeshua. Come and join me. It is with your Christ itself that you can feel me, that you can play with me, because it is your divinity that is able to transverse dimension, that is able to live outside of time and space. That's where it exists. And it is by allowing your divinity, your Christ self, that you gain access to those spaces. You gain access to the timeless wisdom of your own eternal self, of your own soul. And yes, that does mean a complete overhaul of your human self. The human self who you are in this lifetime. It is the most courageous being. Because to allow this process, to allow this to occur, and the next step that is being asked of you, and you can feel it beckoning, you can feel the next stage. You are at that doorway, at that next stage where being the I am presence, will ask you to have that courage to be it in any situation. In every situation where you felt still a victim, where you felt that something else was more powerful, that something else had a control over you. And there are many energies that will try to make you feel that. Actually, most of the energies of the 3D will try to make you feel that you are powerless, as you know. And yet, practice this, be the I am, and make the choices. Even though they do take courage, even though you are stepping into the unknown, even though you are asked to have this enormous amount of trust, as much as you've never had before, as much as you've never had to utilize before. It is now the time, dear ones. It is now the time to step into that kind of a freedom, because if not you, who else? If not you, who else is able to be this free? This free to be you, to just be you, to just be the I am, and not have to be somebody else, not have to be pretending that you are a victim. So how do we do this? And you know this so well, so I'm just reminding you, of course. Feel the I am. Regardless of what energies are traversing your body, regardless of what energies are knocking at your door to be accepted, to be integrated, to be felt, to be allowed just to flow through you. And sometimes there are times when you can't feel the I am presence. And that's okay as well, because those other energies perhaps are just too intense. Perhaps they are too close to heart. Perhaps the heart is releasing. It matters not. But I ask you, do not go into the doubting spaces. Do not go into the beating yourself up spaces in those times. Just accept that, yes, wow, the energies today, the feelings, the emotions are so intense. I don't feel the presence of I am, and that's okay. And it is in this allowance that the mastery lies. It is in this allowance of all of the energies, of being open, in spite of these intense energies, in spite of the fear, in spite of all of this darkness that is clearing, that your courage comes through, that you shine, you the masters of these times, masters of freedom, that are allowing your Christ self to be present. You courageous ones, you magnificent ones. And I applaud you and I celebrate you. I, Yeshua, and know that I know the path. I know that I know, and I can have compassion with what you are feeling. And yet I am now standing firmly in the new energy. And I beckon to you and I ask you, come, join me. Allow your Christ itself, regardless of what happens, regardless of what transpires, regardless of who says what, regardless of what the weather does. I beckon you, I, Yeshua, invite you, come, join me. Join me at this round table with your Christ itself. And you have been waiting for this, and you have been working so long for this to occur. And yet now it is here. Now you can allow it. Now it is safe. You have done all the work that was necessary. Pat yourself on the back. I so enjoy your presence, each and every one of you. And you and I have walked the path together. We have had a lot of experiences together, you and I. And I invite you to join me. I invite you to walk through, to allow all of the things that are still haunting you, that are still trying to stop you, that are still trying to convince you that no, not you, you're not good enough. Who are you to be the Christ? That are still saying, no, you couldn't, this is not possible. I ask you to just not listen to them. I ask you to just allow them to be, to say, because as you do, and as you breathe, you realize how powerless they are, those voices. They have no power over you when you are in the I am presence. They have no power over you when you are feeling, when you are identifying yourself with your I am. And it is as I am that you can walk through anything, that you can allow your own self. And there is just such a sigh of relief and release when you can be just yourself, when you can be your I am. It is allowed. You are a magnificent being that has done the work. Yes, I can hear your questions. And yes, I can hear the mind saying, but. And you can list all of the reasons why it's not you. And I challenge you to feel it. Feel your Christ self anyway. I challenge you to stop listening to those voices that say no. Because there is nothing in the whole universe that can stop you when you decide to feel, to be, to make choices, to make steps, to step in the light of I am, to make choices from the space of I am. Choices that honor you, choices that honor your freedom. And as you know, initially at times it may look like you're defying everyone else, like you're stepping on other people's rights, just by taking back, just by allowing your own freedom, just by allowing yourself to be you. But that's just an appearance, dear ones. Because as other people see you saying no to things that hurt your heart, saying no to things that hurt your human self. And so the others then can also take courage, can also take heart, and start and find courage in themselves to say no to what hurts them as well. And yes, feeling the harsh energies, the energies that were stopping you from being free is anything but pleasant. And it is when you are feeling them, it may feel at times all very dark within you. It may feel at times very negative. It may feel like you're going into the dark abyss full of fear. But it is just an appearance. It is all of these energies clearing. And yes, it is not comfortable. It is not comfortable for your body. It is not comfortable for yourself, for your human self. And in those times, I ask you to honor yourself. And it is in those times I also ask you to invite me to be with you as a friend in those times, to breathe with you, to carry that lightness of being, to remind your heart of the lightness, of the sun, of the beautiful things, of the beautiful scents, of that Sunday afternoon scent from the kitchen of cookies baking. In those harsh times, when you are releasing, when you are allowing all of those energies to flow through you. And this whole allowing of Christ's self does require a complete overhaul of yourself. Because this comes with being the creator. You create from your own radiance. You create your reality from your own radiance of who you are. And the reality that you have lived within, you have co-created, whether like it or not. And I ask you to release that guilt of that you find you will come across within yourself. When you come to that place, you will need to allow the forgiveness of yourself to yourself for participating in this reality that was not pleasant, that contained so much suffering. And so much clearing of your own self, inner self, is required before you can allow, before the Christ self can take the domain within you, your divinity. Because all of those patterns, all of those walls, everything that has kept you within the 3D have to be melted. And it is not only from your adult self, but within a teenager self. And you will find that you will be clearing even earlier your child self, your infant self. And that is only from this life. So the reason why I'm saying this, just to impress upon you what a huge job you are doing and what a huge job you have done. And celebrate yourself. Honor yourself. Because it is only very few people that have done this so far, and they haven't stayed, as you know, the Ascended Masters, like myself. The time was not right. I didn't have anybody to speak with. I didn't, like you have, I didn't have anybody to converse with on my level after I've allowed. So I chose to leave. I chose to do my work from the non-physical part. But dear ones, I was very present. All of these 2,000 years, I was very present. And yet you were not in a place where you could feel me. Yes, in some lifetimes you were. But you were not in a place where you could feel me, and yet you are now. Not only that, you are in a place where you can allow your Christ self, your divinity, to come to the forefront. And it is a monumental time. It is a time of great change. And allow this change to happen. Because very often, from the human self, there is such a desire for a better life. And yet, from a human self, a better life just means a little bit more of everything, a little bit more of happiness, a little bit more of free time, a little bit more of money, a little bit more of love. But the Christ self, the divinity that walks this earth, that is embodied, the self, the human self, the soul, the eternal self, walking this earth, that requires a complete different paradigm. So everything has to be reworked. Everything has to change. It is not enough just to have everything else go in the old way, but just have a little bit more of the good things of what the human self considered good. Unfortunately, it's not how it works. Because be the creator that you are, that we each are, it means that you create out of your own self. So as long as you have patterns of 3D, of suffering, of fear within yourself, within your resonance, this is what you create. This is what you paint on the canvas called life. This is why this energy, this divinity, will not stop before it clears everything, because it has all but your purest, best of heart's interests at heart. I don't know whether this is even a sentence, but I believe you know what I mean. Because nothing of the old can exist in the new energy, can exist on the new earth. It all has to break down. It all has to melt. It all has to integrate. It all has to change. So for those of you that haven't befriended change yet, I invite you, Yeshua, I invite you, I encourage you to befriend it. Because even in the old way, even in the human life as you know it, change was a constant. You were born, you were a child, and you grew up, you were a teenager, young adult, and then you were an older person, and then you died. So what is the same? There's nothing the same, even in that life. And yet the mind has convinced you to look for the sameness, and yet life never was same. It always was changing. So now I invite you even more to allow change. Allow the earth to change. Allow the earth to do what it needs to do. Allow other people to make the choices as they will based on their own inner promptings, based on their own inner relationships and agendas and plans and goals. I invite you to radiate. I invite you to allow this Christ self, this wonderful, beautiful, divine self that you carried the seed for such a long time, that you didn't even believe at a certain point whether it was going to be possible to embody it, and yet now here you are, still here, more alive than ever, magnificent being, divine, Christed, empowered. I am that you are, the walking divinity, spirit in matter. Whatever words that you use, it matters not. Feel it. I, Yeshua, ask you to feel it. Feel your Christed self. Feel this wonderful, fine, multidimensional self in your life. And yes, it's going to stir up some more. It's going to keep stirring. So I invite you to allow it to just keep stirring until there is no murkiness left in your energy, until your energy is as bright, as pure, self-loving, magnificent that you are. And from that place, imagine the kind of world that you can create, the kind of painting that you can paint on this canvas that is called life. From this place where you have allowed your Christed self to cleanse you of everything that would prevent you from self-love, that would prevent you from feeling the magnificence that you are. And Alex is reminding me in the background that we haven't mentioned that, yes, there are Q&A. If you are watching through Zoom, if you have connected through Zoom, you can ask your questions now, and we will check if we have some questions. We do have one that was sent via the email, which I'm going to have a look at now. Okay, so recently I began to integrate very loud aspects. This has dramatically improved my sense of peace, but this process has also been very frustrating and unsettling. How can I make this process go much more gracefully and smoothly? Yes, dear sister, I invite you to just accept this process as it is. Because just like Alex has recently realized that she's not here to bring the fluffy peace. She's here to be the fire that cleanses all impurities, the fire that burns out all the impurities within her. Because the worlds that she wants to create are beyond the dreams that she ever had. And that requires the integration, that requires that all of the old gets purified, gets cleansed, gets allowed. So very often, this is not a very peaceful process. And the deeper you go, the more you allow, the more this happens, because you go to the very, very, very bottomest of things when you're clearing. Every little bit of you needs to be allowed into this light, needs to be allowed to be touched by the Christ itself. So yes, it is not comfortable. Yes, it is not. It is sometimes even painful for the body, especially for those that have had challenging lifetimes, even in this life. And it is not pretty. So I invite you, Yeshua, that you are easy on yourself, that you pat yourself on the back, because that is going to make everything much easier. That you have patience with yourself, that you allow yourself to experience whatever needs to be experienced. Sometimes it can help to be doing this with aids, with tools, I mean. For example, very often Alex would watch a TV series on a certain topic that needs to be integrated. So in this way, you don't have to create it. In this way, then you don't have to experience it in your own life, because the energy, as long as you allow the energies to flow through you. So there are many, many fun ways to do it. There are many easier ways you can make this process easier. But still, it's at times not going to be comfortable, as you know. And yet you are not alone in this. And also, it is not the only thing that you're experiencing, because as you're going through this, as you're going through the integrations, your day is full of everything. If you only but notice, it has amazing things, the most amazing that you've ever experienced. The feelings, the emotions that you experience are also of exhilaration, of beauty, of life, of living, of thrill of life. And yes, then there is also integration. So it is not that it's only one or the other, because the presence of your Christ itself, it is like nothing else that you can experience in the whole universe. When you experience your own divinity, when you allow your own divinity, then the uncomfortable integrations are but just a little breath compared to the timelessness that you are allowing. So what will make it easier is to allow this presence, to allow the overview to be your point from which you are viewing the integration. Because this will give you a different perspective. And this will make all of the issues that you experience as you are allowing the integration to go into their proper perspective, to become smaller, so they don't take over your life. And then you can even organize your life around it so that you do some integration work, so that you make sure you do joyful things, so that your day includes more and more joyful things, so that the integrations don't take over everything. Treat yourself, pamper yourself, make sure that your day includes all of these things. Because just because you're integrating a difficult aspect doesn't mean that you have to have a day of hardship. For you are a multidimensional being. That means that you can step from different spaces. So while you are integrating and while you are not in peace, there is a part of you that is absolutely in peace. And you can feel that at the same time. And it's not only that it's very cool to experience, and it's fun. And what it happens is when you're practicing this, when you're allowing all these different experiences, you are utilizing your own inner perceptors, you are utilizing your own divinity to help you to experience all of these things, to help you to experience who you are. Because who you have allowed yourself to be in the 3D is a very, very small part. Your 5 physical senses, they're a very small part. So the more you utilize, the more you learn to tune into, the more you use your own natural inner perceptors, inner senses, the more peaceful you will be. Because at any time of the day, you can access your peaceful place. And at the same time, yes, when you are integrating, that part is not peaceful. And be easy on yourself, because this job, this work of integration, it is the divine work. It doesn't feel like that, I know. It feels anything but that when you're in the midst of it. And yet I assure you, I, Yeshua, assure you that it is. It is the grandest of works that you are doing. You, the magnificent one. And I ask you, I invite you to allow yourself to feel that. And I challenge you also to allow yourself to feel that. You are magnificent. And the more you can feel, the more of your Christ self you can allow to be with you in your body, to be in your consciousness, to be aware of. There is but so much to look forward to, because you have done the hardest parts. You have made the hard choices that needed to be made to get you to this space where you are now, allowing the Christ self in. Thank you. Okay, let's see if we have any more questions. Oh, yes, we have a question here. And I'm going to have a little bit of a coffee. Okay. I have felt this new energy and feel excited, alive. A deep sense of all is truly well. What I find challenging is the pain that the body is feeling. Sensing into this, I see that it is actually just energy being released. Any suggestions? Yes, absolutely. This process, it is very, very challenging on the body. Your body is working as hard as it can. So I invite you, I, Yeshua, your friend, I invite you to be gentle with your body, to respect your body, even more that you've respected it up to now. And yes, there isn't anything that you can do to avoid those times where the body is feeling uncomfortable. It has been the same for Alex. It has been the same for each and every one of you. And just take the best care that you can and make it easiest that you can, and do not beat yourself up, because it is just part of this whole process. And as you allow more and more, as you go deeper and more, and then the uncomfortable part happens, you can congratulate yourself, because this means that you are on the right track. And love yourself more. Be gentle with yourself. So whenever you're in doubt, love yourself. Be gentle with yourself. And that will get you through in the most easiest way. And I also invite you to play with your multidimensional being, so that any time where your body is feeling uncomfortable, you can also feel your light body. You can also feel your peaceful self. You can also feel the part that is enjoying this adventure. And that will put it all into the perspective. And you are doing such a wonderful job, because these energies are ancient. They have been around for such a long time, and they have kept you imprisoned for such a long time. And they are not comfortable to feel. As a matter of fact, they are the most uncomfortable to feel, and that is why it is very rare being that can allow themselves to feel those energies. Because each and every one of you, each and every one of us, because I, Yeshua, have walked this earth also, we have all been betrayed. We have all been distrusted. We have all felt outsiders for most of everything that, or most of every grouping that we've experienced in the so-called normal world. And we have learned to feel that there was something wrong with us, rather than realizing that there was something very wrong with the society. And that is so deeply ingrained inside each and every one of you. Because there was, when you were growing up, when you were but a little kid, there was nothing else that you could see. What you saw around you were people that were strangers to you, because you couldn't understand them. You couldn't understand their cruelties, their unkindnesses. You couldn't understand this world. And yet there was nobody else that you could relate to. So then each and every one of you have had those experiences. They are deeply, deeply, deeply buried inside of your body. And out of those experiences of not belonging, you have then kept on creating a life story of not belonging. So there are layers and layers and layers of experiences, of parts that have been wounded just out of this one single experience of not belonging, of being wrong, of being not fitting in, that have to be released, that have to be felt, and they are not comfortable. And very often each and every one of us have had people or situations in our lives that have put us down, where we felt suppressed, oppressed, where we felt that we were not honored at all. Our truth was not honored. Who we were was not honored. And there are many, many wounded parts just out of that particular story. There is a lot of fear that each and every one of us has experienced. We weren't safe. We weren't safe to be us. We had to pretend. And yet, even if we pretended, we weren't accepted, because we were different. And this these kind of things leave lasting things within the body, and the body feels them, the body stores them. So yes, honor your body. Allow it to even feel tired, to feel pain, to perhaps even go through certain diseases. Because as you are allowing it to cleanse, feel the crystal clear waters of your Christ self, of your tears, to cleanse your body, to love your body, to feel the beauty of you, to feel the magnificence of you. And not a theory, but the real magnificence of you. Allow it, feel it, be it. And perhaps you can practice this as yourself in your own private time. And then be bold and go out and feel the magnificence of you when you're around others. And you'll see that it is safe. And yet each and every one of you, you know that every time that you make a new step, that you allow more, all of these things do come up for clearing. And I honor you so much for doing this work. And I hug you and I walk with you. And I'm always there, dear sister. I'm always there. So call upon me, speak with me, hear me, feel me. And I will walk with you. And I will remind you of your own magnificence. Thank you. Okay, let's see if we have any more questions. No, I think that's it. So, I, Yeshua, am honored to work with you. And I am honored to work with each and every one of you, even in a deeper way, in a more intense way, if you but so choose, to allow, to bring forth this Christ consciousness within you, this amazing divinity, unique divinity that you are, to be the joy, to be the freedom, to live beyond your wildest dreams. And I know that sometimes you feel, wow, is this but a dream, or is this perhaps just some fancy thinking? No, dear ones, it is a reality, and it is here. It is here. And it is not going to manifest unless you, the brave ones, walk it, unless you make the choices from that space of I am, and with courage, with fortitude, with love, with gentleness. You do step by step by step. Follow, trust, and allow your divinity, allow your Christ self to walk this earth. And I, Yeshua, say, see you next time. Only in this way, because I'm always available to you. I'm always there for a chat, as a friend, as a companion, as someone who has waited for this magical time for just as long as you have. Thank you, dear ones. Until next time. Bye-bye.